I got shredded in 4 months, and this was my diet. There are 4 things that make a good diet to get shredded. The first is that it keeps you full. The second is it gives you energy. The third is it supports muscle growth. And the fourth is it is sustainable. So number 1, your diet needs to keep you full. The reason I used to be soft and flabby was because I was always hungry. So it meant that I would end up binge eating throughout the day. The reason why I was always hungry was because I was eating foods that I thought were good for cutting, but they actually aren't. So I think there's this huge misconception about what foods are good for fat loss versus those that aren't. So a question that one of my friends would always ask me was, what is actually unhealthy about a McDonald's burger? It's bread, beef, cheese, tomato, lettuce, onions, and pickles. All of those ingredients on their own are actually probably good for cutting. But what you don't see is all of the other random ingredients that actually go into making a McDonald's burger. So the beef isn't just beef. It's got seed oils, acidity regulators, vegetable gums, flavor enhancers, and all of this other crap that's in it that's designed to keep you hungry so that you want to eat more McDonald's. And I'm sure we've all had that feeling of eating McDonald's and then wanting to eat even more of it. So this was a misconception that I also held for a long time as well. I would eat things like sandwiches from shops, thinking that because it's just bread, meat, cheese, and vegetables, that was a type of food that was good for cutting. But I hadn't fully appreciated all of the other ingredients that go into making those sandwiches from the shop or restaurants. One of the biggest culprits for this, I think, is microwave protein meals. So you might look at this microwave meal and think, this is great. It's got chicken, it's got potatoes and broccoli. Those are all foods that are going to help me lose fat. You also look at the macros and the calories on it, and they look amazing. But what you don't realize is that similarly to the McDonald's burger, is that microwave meals also contain similar ingredients that go into making the McDonald's burger, like the seed oils, acidity regulators, vegetable gums, and flavor enhancers. And again, microwave meals are designed to keep you hungry so that you consume even more microwave meals. The companies that make these microwave meals don't care about your gains or your fat loss. What they care about is their profits, and they profit by making you hungrier so that you buy more of their microwave meals. So of course, when you eat that way, you stay hungry, you keep eating more food, you binge eat, and so you stay fat. What you need to do instead is make your diet consist of whole foods, single ingredient foods. If you are unsure as to how a piece of food has come to exist, then the chances are that it's likely going to keep you hungry. So for example, a piece of chicken thigh, that is completely natural. It comes from a chicken. It comes from an animal. Whereas a veggie patty, that is made in a lab. If you look at a veggie patty, you can't actually process how that piece of food has come to be. So it's unnatural. The chicken thigh will keep you full. The veggie patty is going to keep you hungry. Your meals must also be built around protein, because protein is the most filling macronutrient. So if you eat 200 grams of protein, which is 200 calories, versus eating 50 grams of carbs, which is also 200 calories, you would be fuller from eating the protein. And of course, you also need protein to build muscle. So my diet is this. For breakfast, I'll have a protein smoothie, which is milk, blueberries, strawberries, protein powder, honey, and collagen. I'll also have 4 eggs, not in the shake, just by itself. For lunch, I'll have chicken and potatoes. And for dinner, I'll either have chicken or beef with potatoes and vegetables. Because I eat unprocessed, natural foods, I'm never hungry and I never have cravings. If I did have cravings though, what I would do is eat frozen fruit. I would put it in a bowl, put it in the microwave, heat it up for about 2 minutes, and then you get this jam-like soup of frozen fruit. You can also put some honey on that and it tastes amazing. Your diet also needs to give you energy. The biggest mistake that I made with cutting was starving myself to try and lose weight. I once got down to 61 kilos because I was literally just not eating anything. And of course, I felt like shit. And I think a huge part of the reason of why I felt like that was because a lot of the calories that I was eating were actually coming from such bad sources. I would still be eating things like Doritos and chocolate and limiting myself to 2,000 calories every day. So obviously you need to be eating adequate calories to give yourself energy, but the source of those calories is also extremely important. The foods that keep you full, so the clean, whole foods, single ingredient foods that I just talked about, are also the foods that are going to give you the most energy. I have eaten only whole foods for so long now that whenever I actually do eat slightly processed foods, I can feel it immediately. I can feel my brain literally become slower. I feel myself become more lethargic. So, for example, the other day I had this sandwich, and you look at what's in it, which is just bread, pork, sauce, cheese, and zucchini. And again, each ingredient on its own you think is probably okay to eat to try and lose fat. But after eating this, I actually felt rocked because I guarantee you there are a whole bunch of other random ingredients that went into that sandwich that made me feel that way. After eating that sandwich, the last thing I wanted to do was train because I just felt so low energy. I felt lazy, I felt lethargic. And so when you feel that way, well, of course you're not going to train. You're not going to be doing cardio, and you're probably more likely to continue to make poor diet choices because you just feel low energy. So you need a diet that makes you feel good and makes you feel high energy. And again, it's just sticking to clean whole foods that's going to make you feel that way. I think so many people actually go throughout their entire lives unsuspectingly eating processed foods, and so are in this constant state of low energy because they've never actually stuck to eating exclusively clean foods for a long time. And so they never actually realize how it feels to feel high energy. So they don't actually even realize that they feel low energy when they eat this way. And that honestly might be you. So cutting out as much as possible, eating out, is actually going to do you a world of good if you're trying to lose fat. Because 99% of the things that you eat out are going to have these random ingredients in them that are not going to keep you full and are going to tank your energy levels. I know it's a bad thing to say because it's so difficult to give up going out to eat food because you're sacrificing your social life. And of course, I don't want you to do that, but it's just mindful to know that whenever you do go out to eat, chances are you're probably doing harm to your goals of getting shredded. So again, sticking to the whole foods that you cook yourself and foods that are high in micronutrients, so think red meat and eggs, those are going to do a world of good for your energy levels. The third thing your diet needs to do is support muscle growth. Obviously, your diet needs to be high in protein in order to build muscle, but please get your protein from natural sources and not from processed sources like microwave protein meals, protein bars, or protein shakes. Sure, all of the processed sources of protein have protein, but you're also getting all of that random garbage ingredients with consuming those foods. And that's going to stifle your body's ability to build muscle despite those foods having protein in them because they're disrupting your endocrine system, which is going to impair your body's ability to produce testosterone. It also impairs your recovery. So you need to be eating clean, natural foods to support recovery and support testosterone production, which of course is going to make getting shredded a lot easier. So for every one of my meals, protein is the main part of the meal. The protein is the star of the show. The meal is built around the protein source. So for most of my meals, they are built around meat. You simply just cannot be having a meal that is just pasta or just noodles or just rice. Sure, you can eat those types of foods, but they need to pale in comparison to the amount of meat that's going with it. So you can eat chicken and rice, you can eat beef and rice, you can eat beef and noodles, but the meat has to be way more than the carb. Otherwise, you're just not going to build muscle, and you're also probably going to feel hungrier. This is also very relevant for whenever you do go out to eat. So whenever you go to a restaurant, please do not choose the carb-only dishes. Choose a dish that is built around protein, that's built around meat, because it's so commonplace in restaurants to have a dish that is just carb or has just such a minimal amount of protein in it. So when you're at an Italian restaurant, it's very common to just have a plate of pasta as a dish. Same in some Asian restaurants. You might just get a dish that is just fried rice or a dish that's just noodles. So you need to be making choices with meat in them, preferably where the dish is built around the meat and where the meat dominates the meal. Fourth, your diet needs to be sustainable. You need to be able to stick to a way of eating to actually see results. If you hate every day what you're eating, then you're not going to be able to stick to it to see results. When I tell people that I eat the same things every day, they're often surprised. And I think the reason why that is because they think it's an unsustainable way of eating. And they think it's something that they could never stick to or do. But the thing is that I actually genuinely enjoy the way I eat. And so it's sustainable for me. So for lunch every day, I eat chicken thighs and roast potatoes. I don't eat chicken breast because I hate chicken breast. I think it's shit. When you eat chicken breast, especially warmed up chicken breast, it is just dry. And it's literally difficult to eat and get down your throat because it's just so chunky and dry. So I don't eat chicken breast. Sure, chicken breast might be a leaner source of chicken and it might have less fat in it and less calories. But I couldn't stick to eating chicken breast every day. So I simply don't eat it. And nor should you sacrifice on a way of eating that you enjoy just because a particular type of food is glamorized in the fitness space. So I eat chicken thighs. Sure, they're a bit fattier, but I can stick to that way of eating over the long term. I also drown my chicken thighs in seasoning so that they actually taste good as well. If you're someone that enjoys sauce as well to make their meals taste better, then by all means use sauce. The key is to make your diet foods that you enjoy eating, or at least can tolerate eating. The biggest takeaway, I think, is that you shouldn't just eat like me or like some other fitness influencer because that's the way they eat. Everyone is different and enjoys different foods. So you need to be picking foods based off what you enjoy, not what someone else does. Because the most important thing is that you enjoy it because you're the one that wants to get shredded. If you hate chicken thighs and potatoes, please don't eat chicken thighs and potatoes. Eat something else that you enjoy. You might prefer beef mince and rice. So eat foods that you enjoy eating, obviously within the confine of clean whole foods. That way it becomes very sustainable, easy to do, and it doesn't require any exercise of willpower by you. And so the process of getting shredded becomes effortless. So if you learned anything from this video, please consider subscribing. We're getting to 20K subs soon, and I'll see you in the next one.